morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone is having a good, well, for me, morning. I spent the morning cleaning half of the bathroom, and then I needed to take a break. So I will be finishing the bathroom after this live. So good morning, Lynn. Happy watcher. Nikita reminds me of a student I had years ago who unfortunately lost her life in a car accident. She was 19. Thanks for being here. Pookie, thanks for being here. Tuxedo Baby. So this story today, it happened on Friday at about 4:30 in the afternoon. And this man decided to drive drunk. He was in an obvious hurry to beat a red light. And in his haste, drove into a nail salon, killing 4 people, injuring 9 others. Of course, he walked away with non-life-threatening injuries. Some of the footage may be distressing for some viewers, so I do have my viewer discretion advised banner up. But I have gone through all of the videos. There isn't anything graphic or anything, similar to what we saw in Marcella Chidester's case, who, if you're not sure, if you haven't heard of Marcella Chidester, she is a 66-year-old woman who drove drunk and drove into a building that was hosting a 3-year-old's birthday party, killing a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old and severely injuring several others. So when I saw this, obviously the parallels to Marcella's case were there. But again, it's, just like with, I cover mass shootings, and it can happen anywhere now. Like everywhere you go, you have to be aware of what's happening. And here, these people were just at work. One of the victims was a New York City police officer. She was getting her nails done for a wedding she had later that night. And she will never make it because this man chose to drive while intoxicated, and he was in a rush to beat a red light, allegedly, of course. He has been charged with DWI. Further charges are most likely coming. I'm guessing he will see a judge hopefully tomorrow, because it's so senseless, All right, so we are going to start. So I do have 6 different videos. One of them is a press conference that the fire department had done just after, well, not just after, but shortly after the accident occurred. And then some of it may be repetitive, but each of the clips have something different in them. And as I was going through, because I just save a bunch of videos and then I go through and pick the ones I want, most of them are from Channel 2, CBS 2. They just, in my opinion, they did a much better job than the other news outlets. So, yeah. So we're gonna start again. This happened on Long Island in Deer Park, which I'll show a map quickly, just so that y'all know. So if I zoom out, here is New York State, and you have New York City and then Long Island here, and it happened in the Deer Park area at Hawaii Nail and Spa, which is here. And what we will hear witnesses say is that this man was weaving past cars in the Kohl's parking lot, which is here's Kohl's is right across the street. There's a light here, and because he was rushing to beat the light, he somehow lost control, or maybe he just thought, who knows, he was drunk, and he drove right into this building. Hey, Road Rash, how are you?
And we begin tonight with some breaking news happening on Long Island. 4 people were killed and 9 people were injured after a minivan crashed into a nail salon. This happened late this afternoon in Deer Park. CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff is at the scene with the latest.
We now know that 4 people inside that nail salon behind me were killed. 9 people were injured, including the driver of a van, an out-of-control van, who witnessed.
And that was one thing. At the start, even the fire department had said it was a minivan, which I'm guessing just based on, first observation, it was a Chevy Traverse, which is more an SUV as opposed to a minivan. Either way, it was a vehicle. And again, the driver has non-life-threatening injuries.
Witnesses are now telling us they saw speeding out of this parking lot, apparently trying to beat that light.
It's not a car.
Okay, I didn't realize she was standing. So Kohl's would be to the left, and then here's the light that this man allegedly was trying to beat. And it seems like he probably just, because he was intoxicated, thought he was making a turn, and he ended up just going straight. Well, he kind of turned, but he turned and drove into that building.
It's not a car accident. It's like you hear glass shattering. You don't hear it's like a metal to metal. It's not the same sound.
Shoppers heard the crash and saw the aftermath. The front.
So you can see here's the car. I mean, you can see part of it. You can see his lights flashing, the license plate. And I'm curious as to how fast this guy was going. Just like with Marcella Chidester, I wanted to, that was one of the questions I had. He had, and it is a 30-mile-per-hour zone. And I would bet he wasn't going 30 miles an hour.
Glass of the Hawaii nail salon on Grand Boulevard in Deer Park completely shattered by a van that hit and killed multiple people inside.
And I saw everything, the glass, everything gone, and I saw them just taking people out. I feel like I'm gonna cry, but and then I was like, a car must have went through there.
It's not yet clear if the 4 dead were customers or employees. 9 others, including the driver, were taken to hospitals, and there's no explanation yet as to what went wrong.
It appears a motorist drove through the building, all the way through the building, and we don't know the cause at this time. There was people trapped. We extricated them and transported them to area hospitals.
Now, that witness told me that she saw the van speeding out of this parking lot, swerving around other vehicles, and then losing control as the van driver was trying, allegedly, to make that light, and then careening into the nail salon. No IDs yet on the victims. Suffolk police are here in force investigating. In Deer Park, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS 2 News.
Oh. All right, so next is the press conference. So they did a little bit of a clip, but this is the full press conference just to get more details on what.
We continue to follow breaking news on Long Island, where there is word 4 people were killed, 9 others hurt after a car crashed into a nail salon. Let's get live now. 2 officials giving us an update.
At 4:42 this afternoon. Upon arrival, we immediately identified that this was a mass casualty incident. We transported 9 patients to area hospitals, 1 by aviation. There was 4 patients were deceased upon arrival. We had 9 departments total respond and 8 ambulance companies. And we had about 150 firefighters and EMS personnel on scene to handle this incident.
Chief, what does it look like happened here?
It appears a motorist drove through the building, all the way through the building, and we don't know the cause at this time.
And the people killed, were they inside? Was it the driver?
It appears that they were inside, the people that killed, yes.
What's the condition of the driver?
The driver's been transported at this time to a hospital.
Does it appear the car went out of control from the roadway or from the parking lot of the strip
We're
mall?
not sure at this time.
You're not sure if it was a medical episode?
It's under investigation.
Were any children in that nail spa?
It's under investigation. We're not sure.
And the 9 injured, was that near?
There was people trapped. We extricated them and transported them to area hospitals.
They were trapped inside the salon?
Inside the salon. Everybody was inside the salon.
The person that was airlifted, how was that person injured?
I'm not sure at this time.
Customers and employees that were killed and injured?
I'm not sure if it was customers or employees, but there was four dead on arrival.
Is the vehicle now well into the store?
The vehicle is still in the store at this time, yes.
What kind of vehicle was it?
It was a minivan.
Any other injuries besides the 4 deceased?
4 deceased and 9 people transported. Those are all the injuries.
Sorry. How many people were in that minivan? Are you
Unsure.
The people that were dead, where were they in the salon? The people that died?
Not sure at this time.
How far into the salon did the vehicle go?
Almost all the way to the back. Almost all the way to the back of the salon, the vehicle traveled.
And can you speak to the gravity of a scene like this and the response?
Yeah, this is very difficult for all the firefighters and EMS personnel on scene, and we'll be meeting with the crisis team this evening for anybody who needs it, for all departments involved.
Did the driver say anything?
I don't know.
Any
I was
indication
running command.
whether this was accidental or intentional?
We don't know. It's under investigation. It's a PD matter.
I'm sorry. Were they conscious when they, with the driver?
I believe the driver was partially conscious.
Male or female?
I'm not sure. They were transported by ambulance, yeah.
And I don't know if it's too premature to ask. The 4 killed women, males, how many?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know.
Do you anticipate releasing the names at some point today?
If the names are released, it will not be by me. It will be by the Suffolk County Police Department.
And what do you say? I know this is fresh. This just happened, but this is the community to the families. These four people are now.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's gonna be tough for the community, tough for the volunteer fire department. But we're gonna get through it, and that's why I activated the crisis team. And just horrible thing to see, especially this time of year with all the good things happening, graduations and whatnot. But yeah, it's what it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you say your name?
Chief Dominic Albanese.
Spell your last name first.
ALBANESE.
Deer Park.
Yep, Deer Park.
D-O-C-K.
No K. DOMINIC.
And Deer Park.
Yep.
Deer Park.
Deer Park.
All right, just a terrible afternoon unfolding there in Deer Park, Suffolk County. A lot of unanswered questions still. However, officials telling us what they do know. And sadly, Tony, we heard 4 people were killed, 9 others injured, one of them transported via helicopter. And then, of course, the massive emergency personnel required in that type of situation. And you may have been able to see that our reporter, Carolyn Gussoff, was there on scene, was able to ask a few questions. Let's go back there now. Carolyn, if we still have you, we just listened to that news conference, but what are you seeing there around you? I mean, we got some of the details there from the official that was speaking, but, do you see people?
And I just realized, so the exit from Kohl's is here, and then it appears that the entrance to that nail salon is over here, just past the sign. So
around, and I mean, just the feeling of this tragedy, Carolyn, on this afternoon, it just must be a very, very depressing feeling there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the community is out looking, trying to get information. This is a nail salon. You can imagine on a Friday afternoon before a summer weekend was likely filled with people. The name of it on the spa we can see is Hawaii Nail Salon and Spa, and the entire, front of it, storefront is just shattered. And we just heard that the vehicle, a van, is completely inside. Some of the folks here telling me that they believe that the car lost control from the roadway, not from the not from the parking lot of the strip mall, but it's too early to know. Police, of course, are investigating. It's too soon to know if this is just sheerly accidental, or if there's any criminality, or what the state of mind or the medical condition was of the driver. We do know that the driver survived. The driver was transported to an area hospital, one of 9 injured people, and the driver is expected to survive. So we should be learning what went wrong here. But in the middle of 4:42 in the afternoon, the call came in. Multiple casualties. People were initially trapped, and now we know that 4 people are deceased. So who you just heard from, that was the fire chief from the Deer Park Fire Department. They're working on the rescue part of this, and of course getting everybody out. Everybody has been evacuated. No one else is inside the building at this time. 9 people transported, 4 people dead, and then the investigation as to what went wrong is by the Suffolk Police Department, and they're here in force as well. So it's a very big scene here on Grand Avenue in Deer Park. Just onlookers, everybody wanting to know, how could this happen? Christine?
Carolyn, if you can help us get a better idea of the roadway there behind you. I saw a speed limit sign that was posted at 30 miles per hour, and I'm just thinking of how fast this car, this minivan, may have been going at the time to break through not just the front of that nail salon, but as the police, or rather the fire chief said, almost all the way through.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is a roadway, a town roadway that has a yellow line down the center.
And so what I did as they were talking, because I'm still in my head, I'm still thinking about the entrance. So what I did was I went to Street View on maps. And so actually, no, let me just go into Kohl's parking lot. So here is where this man would have been driving out. I would assume he was on the right side of the road. And so you have the light there. The nail and spa is right here. So again, I mean, the investigation will tell better, but unless he was trying to go around people, he lost control and then just but his car ended up facing the right. It's bizarre what the heck this guy could have done. I don't even know. But this is where the spa is in relation to that light.
Mile-an-hour speed limit, a small community where you're not supposed to be speeding. We don't know, in fact, if that is what happened, but one onlooker did tell me that there was a witness who thought they saw the car veering or swerving on the roadway, like trying to get past other cars. Again, that's preliminary, and it's unconfirmed, but that's the report from one witness that I heard, that it was a driver on the road that was kind of driving around other cars and then lost control. But it's also a strip mall with several businesses, and it is possible that the driver just lost control from within that parking lot. But we'll have to let police get here and do their investigation. And it's a very large scene. All of Grand Boulevard is shut down now while police are undergoing this, are just beginning this investigation. Of course, all of the victims have to be identified, and it's a big scene. A lot of injured people as well who have been transported.
Okay, Carolyn, several families affected there in the Deer Park area by this. We appreciate you getting there so quickly for us, and we'll let you get back to work.
All right. So the next one again is from CBS 2. They just, like I said, they did, of the coverage I saw, they did the best job, in my opinion. So again, here you can see this was all glass as well in front of, let me see if I can, Yeah. So here's I zoomed into the strip mall, and so you can see where it was all, the glass windows like normal. I mean, I feel like most spas are like that. In the strip malls you have the windows.
Now at 11, a van's blinking light, a gaping hole, and a nail salon that is barely recognizable after a crash that killed 4 people and left several others injured. Tonight, we're hearing from loved ones of survivors who were inside that salon.
Lucky that she's alive, actually. She was like, God save her life.
Now, as investigators try to figure out what happened, a community is left shocked and heartbroken. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson. Maurice is off tonight. A Long Island community trying to come to grips with this devastation. It all unfolded in Deer Park in Suffolk County around 4:30 this afternoon. Here's what we know. 4 people died, 9 others were hurt when an out-of-control van slammed into the business. Firefighters had to rescue trapped people inside. The driver rushed to the hospital. Still unclear exactly what led to the crash. We have team coverage here tonight. Lori Bordenero spoke with a family member of one of the victims. Let's begin with Alicia Reed. She's live at the scene with details. Alicia.
Christine, it's been more than 6 hours since that deadly crash, and there's still crime scene tape behind us. Right now, that vehicle remains in the back of the store. The lights tonight still eerily blinking.
1523, a motor vehicle accident, reported car into a building, multiple patients.
Emergency officials say 150 EMS and fire department personnel responded to Hawaii Nail and Spa on Grand Boulevard. Fire immediately assessed the incident as a mass casualty.
There was people trapped. We extricated them and transported them to area hospitals.
Witnesses.
Yes, Pookie. One of them was an NYPD officer. Yes. She was at the nail salon getting her nails done for a wedding later that night. And her husband is a detective in the same precinct.
To say the driver was leaving the Kohl's parking lot, swerving around cars before losing control and careening into the nail salon. The minivan ended up all the way in the back.
So you come to get your nails done. Who would expect something like this to happen?
Emotions ran high at the scene. A chaplain offering a listening ear to victims' families as well as emergency responders.
If someone wants to speak, if someone wants just to have our presence here, that's what we come out for.
It's horrible. It's going to be tough for the community, tough for the volunteer fire department. But, we're going to get through it.
One customer who usually has a standing 4:30 p.m. appointment on Fridays and would have been inside happened to switch days this week. She showed up after hearing the news.
I don't even know who's gone, who's not gone. I just keep picturing their faces in my head.
It's not clear if the deceased were customers, employees, or a mixture of both.
Yeah. We just saw all the cop cars coming, the ambulance and the fire department, and I saw them just taking people out. I feel like I'm going to cry.
A lot of heartbreak out here tonight and emotion. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. That driver was also taken to the hospital. Live in Deer Park, Alicia Reed, CBS.
And we do know now they did arrest the driver on DWI, and further charges are pending, I would assume, until tomorrow when he can face a judge.
S2 News.
Okay, Alicia, thank you for that update. A relative of one of the victims tells us her niece was inside getting her nails done when the crash happened, and she watched the woman next to her die. CBS 2's Lori Bordenero continues our team coverage tonight from Good Samaritan Hospital in West Islip.
5 victims were taken here to Good Samaritan. There's been a heavy police presence here all night and a lot of family and friends who are waiting to get updates on their loved ones. We know that 3 of the other injured victims were taken to South Shore University Hospital and 1 was airlifted to Stony Brook. We don't yet know all of the names or ages of those hospitalized, but we spoke to friends and relatives of 2 people who were hurt. Both of those victims were customers at the nail salon and are now being treated for their injuries here at Good Samaritan. One of those victims is 20 years old. Her aunt tells us her niece is in a lot of pain and extremely emotional after witnessing 4 people die.
The lady that was sitting next to her died. So she was more nervous because when she saw that the other lady died, she was like, God save her life, basically, because, and that's basically what she said, actually, because she was really concerned about a lot of people dying, and she's lucky that she's alive, actually.
She says most likely her niece has some broken bones. We are waiting to get conditions on all of those victims who have been hospitalized. In West Islip, Lori Bordenaro, CBS 2 News.
Stay with CBS 2 as we continue to cover this.
All right, so we're going to move to the next one. So this is where they do identify the victims. One of them, again, being an NYPD officer, and the owner of the salon also was killed in this, as well as 2 other women.
It was a horrific scene yesterday afternoon in Deer Park, Long Island. Police say the driver was drunk when he slammed his minivan into Hawaii Nail and Spa, killing 4 people, hurting 9 others. And tonight, News 4 can confirm one of the victims was NYPD officer Amelia Renhack. This happened at a strip mall on Grand Boulevard, just across from the popular Tanger outlets. Our Melissa Colorado there now live with brand new details about the investigation. And Melissa, we understand police just ID'd the other 3 victims. What can you tell us?
Yes, all 4 victims ran. And as you can probably tell from right behind me, crews are starting to board up the business. But yes, all day long, we have seen devoted patrons of this nail salon stop by, drop off bouquets for those 4 victims killed by the suspected drunk driver. And tonight we are learning about the identities of those 4 victims, including an off-duty NYPD officer, 30-year-old Amelia Renhack. She was getting her nails done when that car came careening straight into the salon. Bouquets of flowers and scattered nail polish on the ground.
I actually cried. I just couldn't believe it.
A heartbreaking scene for the patrons of Hawaii Now Salon in Deer Park, where police say a 64-year-old drunk driver lost
I still can't, oh my God,
control of his car Friday afternoon and crashed right into the salon's front window. 3 women and a man were killed.
And so I'm curious, too, if these 3 cars were parked, if these 3 cars are where they were parked, or if these are police vehicles. I wasn't sure. I was trying to see the side of this white car.
Among the victims, 30-year-old NYPD officer Amelia Renhack, who worked in the 102 precinct in Richmond Hill, Queens. Her husband is a detective with the NYPD.
Imagine you coming here on a nice day to get your nails done, and a car comes straight through. You don't have even a chance to run, go anywhere. You know what I mean?
9 people were injured, some of them trapped under the car and pinned by debris from the crash. All 9 victims were rushed to the hospital, including one person who had to be airlifted.
It's going to be a long recovery for them. And even the people that didn't die but saw it.
Police arrested the driver, Stephen Schwally of Dix Hills, and charged him with a DWI. Schwally was also injured and taken to Good Samaritan University Hospital. Patrons like Taisha Paris are thinking of the nail salon employees who always work tirelessly to provide a service.
The owners were very nice, friendly people, very nice place to come to, very clean.
And are now struggling to cope with the unthinkable.
It's tragic. It's really a sad situation. It really is.
And tonight, Suffolk County Police releasing the names of all the victims. We know that 3 of the victims, they lived in Queens and they were employees here at the nail salon. As for the suspected drunk driver, Stephen Schwally is his name. He remains at the hospital. And once he is released, he will face a judge. That's the latest here in Deer Park. I'm Melissa Colorado, News 4 New York.
And we will learn a little bit more about Mr. Schwally in one of the next to, I think it's the last one. Okay, this might be the same video. Give me 1 second. I might have put the, oh no, it's 2 different stations. That was NBC. Okay. Yeah, and the driver had a DWI back in, I think they said, I'm not going to guess. I'm going to wait. He did have a previous DWI.
Breaking news. We're learning more about the 4 people killed in a Long Island nail salon and the charges the driver that ran through the building is now facing. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Bister. I'm in for Jessica Moore. We begin with that breaking news. The Deer Park community in Suffolk County is remembering the 4 people killed last night after an alleged drunk driver crashed into a nail salon. We're learning the identity of those victims, including an off-duty NYPD officer, Amelia Renhack. CBS 2's Chrissy Kalishian is there now and has been following this story.
Thank you, Shay. I thought it was 2013, but then I was guessing myself, and I was thinking maybe it was 2023, but I knew it wasn't that recent. So thank you for that.
Talking with longtime customers who call the salon a staple in the community. Christy.
Oh, Jen, that grief can certainly be felt. We've been here since this morning and throughout the day. Customers and victims' loved ones have been out here sending their love. And we're also learning that among those victims, as you mentioned, was an NYPD officer who lived here in Deer Park, Long Island, and was actually an officer there in Queens. And just want to show you, she was in the shop at the time, of course, among with these victims as well. Just want to show you that it's being boarded up right now. It seemed like there were a lot of flowers, and you could see just one bouquet there left at the bottom left. There were a lot of flowers there, candles that had to be moved over as this shop is being boarded up. This is just a sharp contrast to what customers are saying, the lively, loving atmosphere that these loyal customers are saying their shop had.
Remy, that I do not know. They haven't. I do have an article from the Daily Mail. Actually, let's go to this one while we're talking about it. This was the most recent article that I could find, and it does talk a little bit more about, oh my gosh, these ads drive me nuts. So NYPD, again, NYPD police officer is killed while getting her nails done for a wedding after a drunk driver plowed into salon, leaving 4 dead. A New York City cop was killed while getting her nails done for a wedding on Friday night when an alleged drunk driver plowed into the salon. Amelia Renhack, 30, stopped by Hawaii Nail and Spa in preparation for the wedding of another police officer later that night when police say Steve Schwally, 64, drove into the storefront. A witness told CBS News they saw the alleged drunk driver behind the wheel swerving while trying to pass other cars on the roadway where there is a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. He was also allegedly yelling at people from his car before the crash, which left 3 others dead and left 8 injured. And again, that has, I don't believe they're counting him as one of the injured. That might be why there's 8. But again, there were 4 killed, 9 injured. And there is Amelia. Friends remembered Renhack over the weekend as a generous woman who had just married fellow officer Carl Renhack last September. Amelia, I'm in disbelief that you're gone. You were such an amazing, sweet young woman, one friend wrote on Facebook. You just got married and had your whole life ahead of you, she said, describing the crash as tragic and saying Renhack did not deserve this. I would agree. None of those people deserved any of this. Her new husband is also in bad shape, and an unidentified police source told the New York Post, noting his wife was his life. Carl's mother also said she is very distraught right now, describing her daughter-in-law as a wonderful woman. She was beautiful, she was kind, she was very compassionate, she was very special, Holly Renhack said. And it looks like so that's Amelia and her husband. And again, they had just got married this past September. Several police organizations also expressed their sorrow for Renhack's death, while the Police Benevolent Association called it a tragic loss. Please join us in praying for her family, friends, and coworkers, it posted on social media, while the Detective Simonson Foundation, created in the aftermath of the fatal shooting of Detective Brian Simonson at a Queens phone store, noted that Renhack and her husband were part of the family. The Simonson Foundation is beyond devastated to learn about the tragic passing of Amelia. You could always see them at our events, and they always honored Brian. We will miss Amelia, and we will never forget her. To Carl, we love you beyond measure, and we are here for you forever. Meanwhile, the new NYPD Pulaski Foundation said it comes together in the shadow of a tragedy of losing one of our members, police officer Amelia Renhack, whose sudden departure from this world has left us in profound shock and sorrow. In times like these, words often fail to capture the depth of our emotions, the enormity of our loss, and the acute sense of disbelief that accompanies an unexpected goodbye. There's another photo of Amelia. Suffolk County Police say Schwally slammed into the back of the Long Island salon on Friday, trapping employees and customers inside. When firefighters arrived, they found 4 people already deceased, including Renhack, Junsai Chen, 37, of Bayside, Queens, Yan Yu, 41, of Flushing, Queens, and Maizi Zhang, 50, also of Flushing. Schwally, the alleged driver, was also found semi-conscious after the crash and arrested and transported to a local hospital, according to Newsday. He is facing drunk driving charges, but police say they expect those charges to be upgraded. They noted that Schwally was allegedly speeding through the parking lot of a strip mall in Deer Park when he crashed into the front window of the salon at around 4:30 p.m. Video from the aftermath shows a chaotic scene. That doesn't make sense. Video from the aftermath shows a chaotic scene. First responders arriving at the strip mall, which also contains a liquor store and a Dominican restaurant, as a massive police presence cordoned off the area. An emergency helicopter landed at the scene to help transport one victim to the hospital. This is not Schwally's first time being charged with driving while intoxicated. Back in April 2014, he pled guilty to driving under the influence and had his license suspended. Schwally's brother Edward also claims he has had more than one prior DUI, recounting how he once drove his brother to probation after he refused to take a breathalyzer in 2010 or 2011. It's like my worst nightmare come true, Edward told the Post. I feel terrible about innocent people getting hurt. He also admitted that his brother had a habit of, quote, bad-mouthing everyone. He could be vicious at times. I mean, I feel terrible for him that it ended up happening. There's nothing I can really do for him. It's out of everyone's hands. It's in the hands of the courts. He is not going to see the light of day. He's finished. There is no way to get out of that. Oh, and that's it. So he probably drove drunk a lot more than, he was charged with. He just never got caught. Just like, Miss Chidester. She had never had any incidents with the law. She, her driving record was clean, yet she chose to drive drunk and drive into a building. Hey, Sunnyside, thanks for being here.
This is, a staple here, this nail salon.
John Vassallo has been coming to Hawaii Nail and Spa since it opened about 15 years ago. It's graduation season here in Deer Park. The salon was busy with customers at around 4:30 Friday when unsuspecting customers became...
And that's so true. I was just thinking that because most graduations were probably being held this past Friday or yesterday. Because I don't know about New York City would be pretty much the same schedule as me because of state exams. So most likely graduations were. I just realized I feel like I've been out of work longer than just a few days, but yeah, it's awful.
Victims. An alleged drunk driver sped his black Chevy Traverse into the storefront, killing 4 people and injuring 9, including the driver.
It was just the most horrifying, traumatizing, upsetting thing I've ever seen in my life. And I couldn't sleep last night at all.
Han was at the nearby light when she says she saw the driver, who police identify as 64-year-old Stephen Schwally, speed past her.
And I thought, "Whoa, this guy's blowing a light." And I had no idea what I was about to see, but I watched him come right across Grand Boulevard and just right into the salon.
Police say one of the victims had to be airlifted to the hospital. Among the injured, a 12-year-old girl and a woman from Florida. The deceased range in age from 30 to 50. Police identify them as Jin K. Chen, Yan Chu, Maisie Zhang, and Queens NYPD officer 30-year-old Amelia Renak, who lived in Deer Park. The NYPD expressed its condolences Saturday on social media. Family members of employees gathered items left behind as longtime customers tried to console broken-hearted loved ones.
They treated you like family. You know, they didn't treat you like another dollar.
They are the greatest people. They're so family orientated. It's unbelievable. It's a sad and it's a big, big loss.
And as for the suspect, Suffolk County Police say he's still being hospitalized. He was taken to the hospital last night with non-life-threatening injuries. And the 64-year-old has been charged with driving while intoxicated, and he will be arraigned at a later date that is yet to be determined. Live in Deer Park, Long Island, Christy Kalishian, CBS 2 News.
Thanks, Christy. Such a tragic story. Stay with CBS 2 for...
Hey, crime traveler, how are you? I hate a drunk. My mom and her siblings lost both their parents as children because of a drunk driver. All 5 kids had to be separated with different family members. That's awful. That's so awful. All right, so I have one more video, and this is a short one, just again about the driver being charged. And like his brother said, hopefully he will spend the rest of his life in jail or prison. But
new details in the horrific crash that claimed 4 lives at a Long Island nail salon. 9 others were injured. An SUV plowing into the building. The alleged driver charged with DWI. Authorities now saying one of the dead was an off-duty police officer. Janice Yu from our New York station WABC is on the scene.
Tonight, new details in a deadly car crash into a nail salon just outside New York City that took the lives of at least 4 people and left 9 injured.
Upon arrival, we immediately identified that this was a mass casualty incident.
The 64-year-old suspect in that crash, Stephen Schwally, now charged with driving while intoxicated. Police in Suffolk County say he was traveling at a high rate of speed through a parking lot in Deer Park around 4:30 p.m. Friday when he allegedly plowed into Hawaii Nail and Spa.
And I mean, they say allegedly plowed into the salon. I feel like allegedly, you don't have to say allegedly because he did plow into the salon. I mean, it's obvious based on where his car ended up. He did drive into the salon. He drove through the salon.
The man was driving and he came from this parking lot from Kohl's, and he was trying to pass somebody, and then they pretty much ran right into the nail salon.
That salon filled with workers and customers at the time.
Requesting a rush. Multiple patients gone to a building.
The deadly crash leaving this massive crater as first responders searched for survivors. The SUV's red lights still flashing from deep inside the building. And tonight we're learning that an off-duty NYPD officer was among the 4 dead. 30-year-old Amelia Renak was assigned to the 102nd Precinct in Queens, where her husband is a detective.
My heart dropped because life is so fragile. Life is so fragile.
With that driver is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He's expected to be arraigned at a later date.
All right, Janice Yu, thank you.
All right. And I did find one last article we'll take a look at about the victims, because again, they are who matter in this situation. The driver, of course, he chose to drive drunk, and he will face the consequences of his bad choices. Oh, Ninja, I blame any typos on my cockatoo. He wants to be part of the convo. Aw, how cute. All right, so this is from Pix 11. Victims in fatal Long Island crash identified, a great bunch of people. And this looks like it was updated last night. Officials released the names of the 4 victims who were killed and others injured due to an alleged intoxicated driver crashing into a Long Island nail salon on Friday afternoon. The intoxicated driver, 64-year-old Stephen Schwally, was driving at a high rate of speed when he crossed over Grand Boulevard and continued through the parking lot of 794 Grand Boulevard, crashing his vehicle through the front window of Hawaii Nail and Spa around 4:32 p.m. The 4 victims killed in the accident are Jiankai Chen, 37, of Bayside, Queens; Amelia Renhack, 30, of Deer Park; Yan Yu, 41, of Flushing, Queens; Maizi Zhang, 50, of Flushing, Queens. The owner, Jiankai Chen, Renhack, an off-duty NYPD officer, and 2 other customers were inside the business at the time of the accident. The whole vibe in the store was always happy, said longtime customer John Basallo, who said they had a go-to nail tech at the salon. They were a great bunch of people, and it's going to be really sad time knowing they won't be here anymore. For many in this tight-knit community, hearing the driver had been arrested for DWI is horrifying. It is a shame. This is the society we live in. People have no respect for other drivers or people. 9 people, including the driver, were taken to local hospitals to be treated for their injuries. Injured victims from the devastating accident include Nicole Mael, 54, of Dix Hills; Ana Garcia, 53, of Bay Shore; Wen Jun Cheng, 35, of Bayside, Queens; Michael Mihal, 58, of Deer Park. Mial, Garcia, Cheng, and Mahal remain at area hospitals as they are being treated for serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Carol Garcia, 23, of Bay Shore; Tony Sakente, 32, of West Islip; Crystal Rodriguez, 37, of Bay Shore; Nicole Sakante, 55, from Cape Coral, Florida; and a 12-year-old girl whose identity is being withheld due to her age was treated at area hospitals for injuries. Stephen Schwally, the alleged intoxicated driver of the vehicle, remains hospitalized and is expected to be arraigned at a later date. Hey, Mel, how are ya? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. So there we have, again, an incident that did not have to happen. You know, this man, 4:30 in the afternoon, for whatever reason, decided that he wanted to try and beat a red light while driving drunk, and somehow ended up inside a nail salon where 4 people lost their lives, 9 others were injured. And as you know, the fire chief said, he drove through the building. The only reason he stopped is because he got to the back of the building. I mean, I just don't get it. And, you know, I said it, even, you know, the survivors are going to need, in my opinion, you know, therapy. They're going to need physical therapy, maybe occupational therapy, all kinds of therapy. And their healing is what matters now, as well as remembering those who lost their lives. Because this man, and actually there was, I thought that article I was just reading had a photo of him. I think maybe it was the Post. Stephen Schwally. Oh, okay. So here's Newsday, and that's where, I believe that's where some of the other, This thing is still loading. Where the Daily Mail got some of their information. Of course, I can't read it because I'm not subscribed. But it does say, records show Schwally previously pled guilty to a charge of driving under the influence, a misdemeanor in April 2014, after he was arrested by Suffolk police in March 2013. Why so long? So he was arrested in March 2013, but he didn't plead guilty until April 2014. That's over a year. Schwally received probation, his license was suspended, and he was fined $500 in that case. Why would it take over a year? That's crazy. I don't think I'm able to find that article I had before. They had a photo of him. He's, we'll see him soon enough. Hopefully they have cameras in the courtroom so we can see his arraignment. But thanks everybody for being here. I do appreciate it. Again, this happened in Deer Park on Long Island on Friday, this past Friday at around 4:30 p.m. And 4 people were killed, 9 others injured, and the driver is now being charged currently with DWI, but we can expect those charges, additional charges, more serious charges, to be added soon, I hope. Hey, Grain, how are you? I am planning on going live later today. It's going to be, I was watching some of the reactions from the community. Close to me, there was, well, not close to me, it's pretty far away, but I say close because it's in New York State. Police shot and killed a 13-year-old after a police chase. The police thought he had brandished a gun. Turns out it was a pellet gun that resembled a Glock. And they had a press conference last night, and they were having, I don't know if they were having technical difficulties or they had paused for a second, and the crowd started, I don't want to say yell, they weren't really yelling, but they were voicing their concerns. So I am going to cover that later today. I don't know. I'm going to say probably around 7. Like I said, I have a bunch of things I need to finish up here today, but I think that case is going to be an interesting one. And I don't know a whole lot yet, but I hope you can all hang out with me later. So be sure to have your notifications on. If you haven't liked this video, I would very much appreciate that you do. And if I don't see you later, have a great rest of your day. And until next time, I will see you all on the flip side.